All right, folks, welcome back to this 24th episode of the REBT Advocates with Dr. Michael R. Adelstein and me, Tommy Bateman. Today, we wanted to have some fun and talk about the mental stability of President Donald J. Trump. A lot of clinicians in the news are trying to give a diagnosis and prognosis for the president, and we wanted to give it a go here, or maybe not. Michael, why don't you get started? Tell us what you're thinking when it comes to this.
Well, the question that people are asking or answering consists of things like, is Donald Trump crazy? Is he paranoid? Is he a psychopath? Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned as a result of being an REBT therapist that people say different things and use words in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And the way to find out if someone has emotional or behavioral problems is by finding out what their goals are, what they're trying to achieve in life, and whether their thinking is sabotaging their goals or helping to achieve their goals. Now, I usually find that out by having an interview or a session with someone. And usually they come to me because they're not achieving their goals. They're anxious, depressed, angry, or acting addictively, and they'd like help with that. But I think it's a failed strategy to try to diagnose someone. Are they sane or rational or crazy or loony by just reading what they say or listening to their words if they're not a client and you don't know what they're trying to get at.
Mm-hmm.
So applying that to Donald Trump, he uses a lot of words that normally when we teach REBT, we say are irrational, such as X must happen, China must come to the table, or Kim Il-un is loony, or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know what he's really feeling and thinking. Is he anxious, depressed, or does he mean these things literally? Is he using it as a strategy, as some people claim? So unless you have a more intimate notion of what a person is thinking, feeling, and believing, rather than just what they say, then I think it's impossible to come up with an accurate diagnosis. You could take guess, but usually I've seen that guesses are usually based on people's own prejudices, and they give Trump a diagnosis based on what they would like it to be. So if they like Trump, then he's stable and rational, and sometimes says crazy sounding things just as a negotiating strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't like Trump, then he's crazy and irrational and stupid and those kinds of things. So
yeah, he's a sociopath because blah blah blah. He doesn't agree with me on this, or he's the best thing ever, which that's irrational thinking on the other side.
Right, and some of these things may have some truth in them, but we don't know unless we have a deeper understanding of the person.
So even if a psychiatrist says it, all it is just a guess.
That's right, unless it's Trump's psychiatrist,
oh, sure.
In which case it's a violation of confidentiality. I think one of the things REBT therapists could learn from this for their own professional expertise is that this is true even of a client, because sometimes clients don't use semantic accuracy, and sometimes even when they see that their musts and shoulds are creating their disturbance, sometimes they still use the words in an offhand way or say, it's awful, it's raining out, or something like that, and they don't mean it in a psychopathological way. And one of the ways to tell whether a client is using a must or should or an absolute concept or a global evaluation, literally or not, is to ask them how they feel. Mm-hmm. So if they say it shouldn't be raining today, then you ask them how they feel. Do you feel anxious about it raining today, or do you feel depressed or angry, mm-hmm. or are you just frustrated and disappointed? If they say, well, they're just frustrated and disappointed, then the chances are they are thinking in terms of preferences, and it's what could be called a preferential must or a conditional must. If I'm going to have a picnic today, I preferentially should have a nice day going for me.
That's right.
But if they say they're depressed that it's raining, then most likely it's a demand, an absolute, and then we can question, challenge, and help them contradict their demands.
Well, that's a good point. And I think we can give it a try here. Now, I'm on Donald's Twitter, and there's a statement he said recently. It was April 13th. He was talking about the former FBI Director James Comey, and just a snippet. He said, he, that is Comey, is a weak and untruthful slimeball who has, at times, as time has proven, a terrible director of the FBI. So that one statement, let's take that apart. He is a weak and untruthful slimeball. Well, there is what we would call people rating. Just because and we said this in the last episode, you bark like a dog, you crawl around like a dog, you eat out of a bowl like a dog doesn't make you a dog. So the truth of the matter is James Comey is a flawed human being just like everybody else. He's not a slime ball. He may have acted slimy or he may have acted great depending on your perspective, but neither thing makes him anything other than a flawed human being. So that's a statement that President Trump made, which is perhaps, it is not rational. It is not based with any evidence, the slime ball part.
If you take it literally,
yeah.
But if we don't know unless we ask him, when you think about Comey, do you feel angry? Do you feel depressed? Do you feel hateful?
Yeah.
And based on what he said, then we know whether he's meaning this literally or not, whether he really believes that Comey only and always acts weakly, only and always lies and acts slimily. And if he really believes that, then he has an emotional problem. And
yeah.
It's probably anger or hostility. And one of the main problems, as you said, Tommy, is people rating. On the other hand, we don't know if he's using that as a strategy or to try to back someone into a corner or get the upper hand in a negotiation or things like that. So again, unless you're in a clinical situation with someone where they tell you what they really feel, we don't know the truth about this.
That's exactly right. And it sounds like our listeners are not going to get a conclusion from us whether or not Donald J. Trump is mentally well or unfit.
Right. But the conclusion I hope our listeners get is you don't really know by someone's words what they're really feeling unless they say in their words, I'm really angry or I'm very depressed about this. And even again, if they're not coming for you for help for anger and depression, they may have an incentive to try to convey that as part of a negotiating strategy, or maybe they're being honest.
Exactly. Well, Michael, this has been a fun one, and I hope everybody subscribes to our channel, or you can email us at rebtadvocates@gmail.com. Hope to hear from you. Thank you.
Right, and the channel is the REBT Advocates. And thanks very much for suggesting this great topic. And I look forward to our next one, Tommy.
All right, Michael. Thank you.